High, push it, checker bike, hell yeah!
What's the caution for? Me?
Can they not push it in?
Stop anybody.
We'll be going!
Love a job all night long. Great car, guys. No need to get in the middle of all that. Good about 5 out the back.
So nice, baby!
Burner down here. You'll be good to start finish line for your interview.
For the love of the game, my man. For the love of the game. Way to go, boys.
One hell of a job, man. One hell of a job.
Thank you so much.
Welcome on into Holler Talk, episode number 2 on a Monday, April 1st, 2024. I'm Alan Bailey.
I'm Lee Overton.
You want Buzz?
Yeah. That was inevitable.
Gotta love it.
That was great.
But we are sim racers with Overton Speed Shop, but we're also real race fans and sometimes a reporter. So we're going to talk about everything that we saw out at Richmond on an Easter weekend and Dennis freaking Hamlin getting the victory after cheating and jumping the start right there at the very end. First off, did he jump the start? That's a big topic of discussion.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, everybody's in agreement. I mean, there's no, there's like looking at the footage. NASCAR said initially, Fox said no, NASCAR's not reviewing the footage. Then NASCAR came out and said we reviewed the footage.
It was good. So like,
yeah.
But they have the telemetry data to know when he's full throttle, and if he's not within a half car length and he's full throttle, it should be an automatic black flag.
Agreed. Like,
I don't know.
It's here's the thing. NASCAR painted the Geico restart zone with clear lines on the fence and on the racetrack. Here is the restart zone. This is the box. You got to be in this box to start. And Denny Hamlin wasn't in the box. Like, to me, he should be.
But if it's your home track, you get to start 100 feet early.
It doesn't matter. I don't give a shit if it's your home track, if it's enemy territory. Don't care. That should not be a factor in this decision.
Yeah, no.
You're either in the box or not in the box, period.
I think the annoying part is this isn't the first time that NASCAR has done something like this. And instead of, admitting their fault, they'll brush it under and say, well, we'll fix it for next time without
and they won't.
And they won't. So I think it's annoying. It might be one of the first times that we've seen a call like this that doesn't happen to one of NASCAR's golden boys, because I mean, you can have the whole talk if Denny's a NASCAR golden boy or not, but I think it's interesting that if someone who wasn't well liked was up there and that happened, I think we'd be seeing a different story.
I don't think it's a question of Denny being NASCAR's golden boy. Look at it from a NASCAR PR standpoint. He's a team owner. That carries a lot of weight right there as it is. But he is a driver. He is one of the faces of the series right now because of the Netflix special, and NASCAR's very much aware of that. And I don't know if they're necessarily going to be play favoritisms towards him, not calling calls like this where clearly he jumped the start right there. I didn't think they would, but clearly they're letting him escape for whatever reason. And maybe it's because he's on a podcast this morning he would have been bitching about the fact, NASCAR called me out for doing the wrong thing. Maybe that's it. Or is it just they don't want to piss off, frankly, the team owner who brought in Michael Jordan's attorney, who is causing the most problems behind the scenes right now for NASCAR and the team owners. Little column A, little column B. I don't know. But like,
in avoiding that scenario of, him going, full blast on, a podcast today, like being like, yeah, NASCAR screwed me over. In avoiding that scenario, they instead have traded this scenario where not maybe the whole, but like a very large portion of the NASCAR community, fans and pundits and all that are, going, NASCAR are playing favoritism here. Playing favorites, I mean.
Well, maybe we need to look at this from a different perspective, because this isn't the first time that, well, we all know drivers are trying to be the fastest. They're always trying to look for exploits, but this isn't the first time that Denny Hamlin has stepped in territory where he knows he can get away from it.
Yeah, he's forcing them to make a call.
Yeah, and if he's going to put it out there and they're not going to make the call, he's going to do it again.
Oh, and I
You
would
know,
too. I can't blame
and
him.
then until it becomes a problem, NASCAR's not going to do anything. But to completely lie about it and say, yeah, it was a good restart, is complete false.
Yeah.
It's a complete lie.
I'm
I
waiting.
would like to
Yeah.
see something like, so the NBA, they have the like last 2 minutes of every game are reviewed by officials, and they do an after game report saying this was a bad call, this was a good call. We need some kind of something to like, I don't
You know
know,
what we need? You know
just
what we need?
we need something from race control.
I just thought of this. You know exactly what we need? And Rick, you might know because you're, or no, was it Lee who followed the World Cup? Anyway, in football or soccer, as you guys like to call it, there's something called VAR. Have you guys heard of that? No. Okay.
Oh,
You
it's like in
Yeah.
tennis, they have the VARs in tennis as well for line fault,
Oh yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
where the
So
ball is and
basically,
whatnot.
yeah. So VAR is basically this pretty new still system they have for not having to rely on human referees and stuff to decide whether or not an iffy goal is a goal or not. Instead, they have cameras and sensors and stuff now that can down to like the thousandth of an inch determine
And
whether the ball was across the room.
And NASCAR has this. They have a billion cameras.
Right.
They've got the data. They can tell.
Yeah, I mean they
know.
have it for that's what they use for pit lane penalties.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying
but they
new
only
thing.
use it. Yeah,
Yeah,
they use it when it benefits them. They don't. They
Yeah.
don't use it any other
Yeah,
time.
they need to be consistent with it, and I think they should always use it. Every restart should be monitored with that system. I feel like
it is. Supposedly the
Yeah.
restart zone has those type of cameras mounted above the racetrack looking down and can tell when somebody jumps the start. But when Fox is actually doing what they're supposed to and actually showing us the good camera angles,
Showing it.
then
Yeah.
you can just
Yeah.
tell. It's obvious. And
yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
there are multiple camera angles on this, and they all paint ooh, that looks very close. But the smoking gun
Yeah.
is the onboard of Denny
Onboard.
Hamlin that
Yeah.
shows out his passenger side, looking towards the outer wall, looking towards Martin Truex Jr. Clearly, the 11 is ahead of the 19 on the restart. That's the way
Yeah.
it should be. The leader is in control of when they go. However, he clearly jumps on the gas well before the restart.
You can't even
zone
see the
launch.
restart zone when
No.
he's full throttle, like through his
Yeah.
side window.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
like it's just I don't know.
It-
That was
it comes-
blatant.
It comes into the picture a good 2-3 seconds after he jumps on the gas, which is like, okay,
Yeah.
that's Lee, I think you did the research and it was 36 feet.
Yeah,
He
looking at
literally,
Google
give or
Maps,
take-
just
give or take.
like we're talking 10 yards, 10 meters, 30 feet. Like that's not an insignificant amount.
No.
No.
And it's not
that's almost 2 car lengths.
And here's the
Yeah,
thing.
that's
If the
over
restart
iffy
zone
territory.
Yeah, and if the restart zone was teeny tiny, if it was, a few feet, inches, then I'd say, yeah, gray area.
Yeah.
But that thing is
But they're
massive.
so yeah.
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 It's just so massive.
So
And I'm just
let's talk
like,
about it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. So let's talk about it this way. So NASCAR calls them out on it. They're in overtime on a caution that maybe shouldn't have even been called, but we'll get to that later. They're in overtime, and he jumps the restart, and they call him on it. So then what happens? They recant the win, and he goes
They've
right to
done
the
it
back
before.
of the.
They've done it before. They did it as it was Pocono last year.
Cucumber.
Yeah.
Cucumbers.
I mean, they took
Yeah,
the
encumbered
victory
win.
away
Yeah,
from
but
the 11 car at Pocono last year. After he went to victory lane, after he took the photos, after they did all the things, they were
Yeah.
like, nope, you have a teeny tiny little sticker on your car.
Yeah, P1 and
You're
2
done.
got DQ.
Was that-
so then, yeah, because that was when Kyle Busch too, right? Also
yeah,
had the.
so that's 2
him
years
and-
ago.
The
No, it
Toyota,
was 2
yeah.
years
So
ago, yeah. That was was it
But
Kyle Busch?
that's it's a competition penalty. Not
Yes.
well, it's a setup penalty. It's not an actual like racing penalty. I feel like NASCAR has this aura around them where they don't really give penalties for retaliation. They don't give penalties for this or that for actual competition on the track as much as we see like F1 or other motorsports like IndyCar. And I think that they're probably trying to protect a reputation, but there's more to it than that. This is as blatant cheating as we see. If the rule says you cannot accelerate until you're inside the zone, or they should have called off the restart. But again, to your point, who was watching? The announcers weren't watching because Fox's broadcast was terrible.
Yeah.
And
They realized
where the stewards were looking. Well, I'm sure they did. They're like, why is MTJ hitting Denny Hamlin? They don't even know. The race is over.
I would have preferred if Fox just didn't say anything about it, and then, like, instead of saying that NASCAR confirmed the start, so that means that someone looked at it and saw that and was like, "Meh, okay, we're good." Like
knowing
that
how,
just
knowing
to
how
the point of like, I just want to say to the point of like protecting the image of the sport and all that stuff by not going after every little thing, like that starts with like protecting the integrity of it. Like the fundamentals need to be stable for you to be able to do stuff like that. Like you can't, like, sure, you can be lenient on things like door banging and stuff like that, but like this is such a
this is considered like track limits. Like they need to
this is
enforce
such a
track
basic
limits.
fundamental issue.
Agreed. Yeah. And you look at it, NASCAR. So I've worked for racetracks, and I've been on the officiating end of these calls when you're put as a track promoter, race director person, you're put in the position to, but frankly, end somebody's night. Because if NASCAR would have made the call on Denny Hamlin, hey, you jumped the start, pass-through penalty, stop-and-go penalty, whatever the penalty NASCAR felt was worth that crime, that effectively ends Denny Hamlin's night. That ends his chance at winning a race. It drastically affects his point situation, etc., a million different things. And you never, ever, ever want to be put in that position where you have to make that call. However, you aren't doing a service to the rest of the field by not calling out Denny Hamlin in this moment, because everybody else is doing what they're supposed to do. They're following the rules. They are doing what they need to do in order to give themselves the best shot at the best finish that they can. And Denny Hamlin's out here not giving a shit, jumping the start because, oh, I'm Denny Hamlin, I fucking earned it, and he just goes for it and doesn't care.
I don't know about earned it, but yeah, I mean
those are his words. Those are his words from the Netflix special, not mine.
I would do the same shit if they're not gonna call it. I would push that envelope as much as you can. It's the same thing like pushing, getting through tech. If they're gonna allow one thing happen, like so, we have Chris Van Scoy, who is working with Andy Hillenberg's team in ARCA Fast Track Racing. He is going to be the crew chief on the 10 for Talladega, but Venturini bondled the ever-living shit out of their front bumper, and NASCAR just said, don't bring it back to next year's test, that they would get kicked out. So that leaves open like, oh, they're not going to call it, so we're going to do those same exact things. So it's kind of a parallel is, someone gets away with A, you're going to do A and push it to the nth degree until you get bagged for it, because if you're pushing the envelope that much, the risk is worth the reward. If you get DQ'd, whatever, we're cheating anyway. Like, the upside is so much better. Like, the chances of them actually calling to disqualify or a post-race penalty, anything like that's not going to happen, because they don't want fans to leave the track not knowing who won.
But on the flip side of that, I'm okay with NASCAR being cool, like giving, frankly, a warning saying, hey, I can bust you for this, but I'm not gonna. I'm cool with that. That is awesome. That is where you want to be as a track promoter. However,
the black and white flag.
Exactly. However, when that team comes back to the test, if the front bumper's Bondo, NASCAR's in a position where they have to call out that team and they have to suspend, fine, whatever, somebody for doing that when they were explicitly told not to. And NASCAR doesn't want to be in the business where they have to call balls and strikes. And that's where we are right now. That's this entire discussion. And we can all sit here and scream at the internet until we're all blue in the face, but that's not going to change the fact that Denny Hamlin cleared post-tech. He is in victory lane. He wins Richmond and further advances his playoff. Yes. And to me,
well, not only that, this is his third short track win in a row. Let's not forget Bristol.
Of the 3 short tracks in 2024. Yeah. And I was at the LA Coliseum race, and Hamlin had a little bit of swagger, and he felt a little cringe. It was a little cringe because he did the whole "I beat your favorite driver" thing again. But I mean,
thank God that's done. By the way,
I'm really glad his father called him out on that. That was super cringe, and that to me, Denny's at that point where he's about to be in the final years of his driving career, full-time driving career, and he's already being that cringe dad. I'd like to point that out. So
I mean, the man's what, 40? What?
1,
2? No, 1 or 2?
1 or 2, something.
He's
like
not
that.
a young guy anymore. I can't believe he's that. I remember when he first came in.
Truex
He was a light young gun, wasn't he?
He was. Truex is, I want to say, 42. He's the oldest guy in the field, and he's. I feel like he's retiring this year because look at it from Truex's standpoint. You're getting beat by your teammate who's literally cheating on the racetrack and not taking away a win, but taking away a win from you at Richmond. You've got the owner's grandson who's clearly getting peripheral treatment over there, and you've got Christopher Bell, who's the guy who's made the Final Four the last 2 years running and couldn't get attention if his hair was on fire. So, I mean, if I'm Martin Truex Jr., I'm going to hang it up and I'm going to be done with it because I'm getting too old for this shit. And who takes over the
we talked about the curse. Talked about the curse of the 19 car.
He's about to pull a Carl Edwards and just be like, I retire effective immediately, peace. Like, that's kind of where I think he is. But with that in mind, who takes over the 19 car when Martin Truex Jr. retires? If it's at the end of 2024, who takes it over for 25, guys?
That's a good question. That's a very good question.
Chandler Smith.
You think?
Maybe.
I made this point.
If you move up Chandler Smith now, you risk another Suarez.
I don't think.
Like for those first couple of years, you're gonna put someone in the car who's not ready. They're gonna struggle, and you're gonna say, "Well, why are they so bad? Brought up too early." Like those cars aren't meant for new guys. And Ty Gibbs might be the exception, but also who is Ty Gibbs' grandfather? Let's be real. So to go into that car and succeed says more about the team than it does about anyone else.
But I think you're right with Chandler Smith that he would go up since he already has experience in the next gen car, and then you would see Taylor Gray slide into the 18 or 81, whatever the hell it's going to be named. Because I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty high on Taylor Gray after podium finish in his debut at Richmond. I mean, he's in a JGR car, but that's still pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, but so's Eric Amarola, and he can't finish top 10.
Well, he certainly tried. He certainly tried this weekend. He led the first 2 stages.
Well, guess what? You don't get points for trying. Do or do not. There is no fucking try.
I've never liked Eric Amarola personally.
I think what Noah Gregson's doing in the 10 car right now shows that Eric was clearly at least a little bit of an anchor on that 10 team. But, I mean, back to Chandler Smith real quick.
That's fair.
I think it's Chandler Smith because he's young. He has the driving talent. I think he's borderline ready. But most importantly, and this is the thing that we're all kind of overlooking, he brings money with him. He has a handful of sponsors that came over to Joe Gibbs Racing with him and that fill out that car.
Yeah, Quick Tie.
And they'll move right on up into the Cup Series with him. That's the most important thing. It doesn't matter if you have the talent. It doesn't matter if we think you're ready or not.
That's who he had when he made his debut last year for college. Well, no, in college. Their Cup rides, I'm pretty sure he had Quick Tie on the 13.
Yeah, he did.
But yeah, I mean, right now there's not really anyone else in the Toyota camp that's ready to move up without another year or two in a lower series,
Fair.
other
Yeah.
than Chandler Smith, just because, I mean, he's 22 and been around for 5 years already.
Something like that,
Yeah.
yeah. And I
I
mean,
guess maybe it's the only choice they have.
I
Like,
think I think it's the best choice that they have. Clearly, it's just a question
I
of
mean,
when does Martin Truex Jr. hang it up, and I think it's coming. I mean, after we saw the temper tantrum at the end of the race, and
yeah,
what did you guys think of the temper tantrum?
I thought it
what-
was a little much for someone of that age to you know what I mean? Like,
I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny that Larson was saying, "Well, MTJ is one of the most respected guys in the
Yeah.
garage," and then this isn't the first time he's acted like this. It's not going to be the last either.
No, I saw.
You can garner so much respect, and it's not going to matter when you're under the flame, when you're under the fire, and you act like this. Even on the onboard, when Denny jumped the restart, I mean,
Immediately on the
he's
button.
already on the button, and he's not even worried about catching him. Not even worried about what he's going to do in turn one. Oh, he jumped.
Yeah.
He jumped. Well, how about you do your job?
And then talk about it
Right,
afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
To
he's
me,
in the wrong sport to be acting like that on a restart. Like, yeah, if Martin Truex Jr. was an F1 driver and went immediately on the radio, said he jumped the start, yeah, sure, then the stewards in F1 would probably be like, oh, we're gonna look at that and dish out a penalty immediately. But it's NASCAR.
Well,
You
NASCAR's
can't
not going to do
that.
anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Yeah, it's
what about Norris's jump start? You want to talk
Yeah,
about
right?
F1?
Yeah, no, that
what
was
did they do
bad.
about that? Don't get me wrong, I love Norris,
But
but
Yeah,
if
no,
you're gonna
that's-
get real with jump start.
is there a
Yeah,
race car
that's-
driver who hates racing more than Martin Truex?
no. And let's be clear. Let's paint the picture
Alex
of.
Albon, maybe.
Yeah, like
But let's paint the picture
he's a
of
phenomenal driver. Like he's a great person. I've always loved him, but like he's turned just to a bitch. I don't know. Like it's just.
Yeah.
I think he's the
I
old man
respect the hell
because
He
out
had
of
a
him.
prime.
look at
Yeah,
what
get
his
off
average.
my lawn, shit.
Yeah, exactly. He's very much that old man yelling at the cloud right now in NASCAR because. Listen, if anybody in the garage area has earned that at this point in their career, it's Martin Truex Jr. because he's the guy who, frankly, is at the racetrack Saturday and Sunday. Monday morning, he's on a boat in a lake somewhere. His phone is literally at home. He literally doesn't take his cell phone with him when he goes out. And he
speaking of Carl Edwards.
Yes, he turns
It's
his
the
cell
same
phone
thing.
off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and some Thursdays. His phone is literally turned off, and his PR team literally cannot get a hold of him if they needed to. And then Friday morning or Thursday night, hey, what's up? Where you been for the last 4 days? Which, from a sponsor, PR, team management standpoint, is frustrating like there's no tomorrow. But that's where Martin Truex Jr. is right now. I can guarantee you he's probably in a competition meeting this Monday morning screaming at the 11 car. And Danny's just sitting back there like, I'm great.
Yeah,
Number 11, double 11,
touch me.
yeah. Which...
like be pissed off at your pit crew. If
be
anything,
pissed off at the pit crew. The fact that Martin Truex Jr. did not get it done on that restart, that he did not do that last run right at all. Like that's all on him.
Well, let's talk about NASCAR throwing the cautions, okay? So not only did they botch the Kyle Busch one earlier,
that ruined so much
for
strategy.
tapping the wall, but also the Larson one. I mean, he's in the grass, and I guarantee you, if you look at how much time they took from the time they saw smoke to the time they threw the yellow, it was probably less than 2 seconds, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was an insane amount. They were waiting to throw that caution, and we know they do this all the time.
Like
they were looking for something to make the race interesting, and they threw it. It screwed over a lot of good guy strategies. I talked about this all last night. Suarez getting caught a lap down, that really screwed him. He kept fighting for that lucky dog position. He was faster than probably half the top 10, or half the top 20 at least. He had a top 10 coming for him. That was an easy top 10 day for that Trackhouse car, and maybe even Chastain too, had he not got caught out by that as well.
Yeah,
But these
Bubba got
strategies that
lucky
they
with
tried,
that.
it was insane. It was insane.
Like, but he didn't even. I just can't believe how quickly that light comes on when there's a shot from in front of Kyle Busch of him going up into the wall. Like, he's barely into the wall and that
Yeah,
button's
that was
already hit.
ridiculous.
Like,
That was
Well, and
ridiculous.
the announcers were like, "Well, maybe his brakes went out or something."
yeah,
And then they would
right.
watch
And
the replay.
they're like,
nothing.
he just fucked up real bad.
Yeah, pretty
You know,
much.
sometimes I feel like NASCAR is supposed to be the UFC, but it wants to be like the WWE, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Really stop it.
like they are supposed to be a sport, but they want to be
Copyright.
entertainment first.
Yeah, and I mean, you
Yeah.
look at how it works. There is normally a race director on the radio going, "Car in the wall, turn 2, put it out," and somebody quite literally has a big oversized button that they have to in order to
Yeah.
get the caution
Yeah.
going. But somebody is sitting there with that button in front of them, and they're like this, ready to go,
Yeah.
just ready to hit it. So clearly somebody was very, very, very like aggressive with the button on the Kyle
Yeah.
Busch thing. But at the same time, you know, I get it. NASCAR is in the entertainment business. They're getting a hell of a lot of pressure from Fox because Fox wants a fucking commercial every 10 seconds because they'd love to throw a commercial break on every 10 seconds. And Fox, I cannot be more clear about this. I know some people who work for Fox here in Los Angeles, and they have told me this because they have been in these meetings. Fox doesn't give a flying fuck about NASCAR. They really don't. They do not care about what their on-track product looks like. They do not care about what their on-air product looks like. The only thing they care about is their bottom line. They are very much a business, and I get it because that is all that they technically have to care about. It screws us over, the NASCAR fans, but they really only care how much did our talent need to spend on hotel rooms this weekend? How much did we lose on flying them out for that race weekend? That's why NASCAR built that production studio in North Carolina so that they can have their announcers just go to North Carolina and call a race, and they don't have to pay for a hotel room. And
just if I'm allowed to put my tinfoil hat on for a second, from the entertainment and publicity perspective, it looks very good when the hometown old man,
adult,
old man,
wins the race at the last second with all his hometown crowd supporting him in the stands and everything.
I will tell
from
you, NASCAR,
the optics of that are very good.
I will tell you, the only town that matters today is in Richmond, Virginia. It doesn't play anywhere else. Here in Los Angeles, we're running. The headline is something to the effect of Denny Hamlin holds off teammate on green, white checker finish. That's the headline. It doesn't matter, it's the hometown boy. That literally only matters in Richmond, Virginia. Doesn't matter anywhere else. Literally nowhere else gives a fuck about that because it doesn't matter.
Well, no, that's kind of my point is like that's what they were
going for.
Tapping into. Yeah.
That is, but NASCAR cares more about the fact that there was a green, white checker finish than who won that race, is what I'm saying, from a PR standpoint.
Well, there was a crazy stat on like how many of the previous Richmond races have had overtimes. I can't remember the stat, so I'm not going to try and fumble it, but it was a large amount of overtime finishes for Richmond and short tracks in general. I mean, we've seen it a lot.
I was gonna say.
I mean, who doesn't love beating and banging on the last couple of laps? I mean, I get it, but to throw the caution that quick just because you see an opportunity, I mean,
yeah, but
annoying.
Putting it bluntly, and I mean, listen, you're talking about things getting played in the non-NASCAR sphere because I always look at it this way: if I can get somebody here in Los Angeles to care about motorsports racing and I can talk NASCAR to a non-NASCAR fan, it's a good weekend. And immediately Saturday night, you know, the calls, the texts I was getting from coworkers at the radio station I work at. I saw the NASCAR road rage thing where they threw the bumper. That was amazing. Yeah. They do that all the time.
7.5 million views in 24 hours at least is what I heard. And so
really?
And that was just on Twitter. Yep. That was just on Twitter, let alone everywhere else.
Yep. It was picked up
and
by...
I mean...
Yeah, and it was picked up by almost every single news outlet, and it made the sports highlight reel on every single local news. And it should, because it plays very interestingly, and it shows that these guys have passion. And remember, the thing that put NASCAR on the map was literally the weirdest fist fight you'll ever see. That is what put NASCAR on the map. And moments like this does more for the sport than, frankly, the Denny Hamlin restart. Like, that is what it is. And NASCAR, how do they capitalize on this? I don't know. Because when they had their viral moments over the course of the last couple of years, I mean, the Hail Melon was the big one, and that did literally nothing for the ratings the next week. And other than being played on SportsCenter and local news, it didn't go anywhere. Nothing happened. There was no new eyeballs that came to the sport because of Ross Chastain pulling a video game move. And how does NASCAR capitalize on those moments? They're trying to figure that out too. And if I knew, I would tell NASCAR, and I can guarantee you they'd probably enact that plan, but they don't know, and nobody does. There's strategists in rooms right now trying to figure this shit out, and they haven't figured it out. So I don't know. I mean, I wish that, I mean, I'm hoping at the very least that, who was it? It was Joey Gase that threw it. I'm hoping he at least signs some other sponsors because of this, but I don't even think that'll happen.
Yeah, but before we move on from Richmond, I think I want to talk about Suarez and Josh Berry, because that, to me, I mean, you know, as whether or not who I like, affects this. It was a racing incident, you know.
Yes.
Richmond has this a lot, where, you know, you have differing braking zones, differing lines through the corner. And while part of it is Suarez, you know, diving into the corner, Josh Berry really wasn't paying attention in front of him either, and really drove up through the corner. One of those racing deals, but you know, that kind of ruined Suarez's night. I think Josh Berry got away with it a little bit, but I'm interested to see in the coming weeks what kind of karma comes to our good friend in the Ford.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's
I don't know. Like, I agree.
I don't think so. I think Suarez will do something. Suarez will drive him differently. And I don't know that Suarez, I love Suarez, but I don't know that he has the muscle to take this grudge and make it last a couple of weeks. But I guarantee you'll see something in the next, especially with another short track next week, Martinsville, you'll see something.
I was going to say,
I guarantee you.
Going into Martinsville, if I'm being blunt, if Suarez is even on the same lap as the 4-car this weekend, something might happen. But, I mean, I think the 4-car is going to be...
Yeah, it doesn't.
I think the 4-car is going to be decent this weekend. I don't know if he's going to have a top 10 run in him, but I think he's going to definitely have a top 15 run. How does Suarez's short track program look this weekend? I don't know.
I don't know. Trackhouse and SHR have both surprised me with their short track setups so far. What hasn't surprised me is RCR. Seeing Kyle Busch struggle the last couple of weeks, that has been really interesting. Knowing that Kyle Busch is, you know, really good at short tracks, and what he's been able to do with that RCR program, their short track package has been garbage. And there was Richard Childress was on the radio because Austin Dillon was whining and complaining, and he's like, just drive the car. But is that bad? I mean, it's pretty terrible. And there's a lot of teams that you'll see out there, Colleague as well, who have not been hot on the short tracks.
Yeah. Hang on. Colleague? We're going to talk about Colleague, the field fillers of the Cup Series right now. If you have enough money, you too can race in NASCAR, Ty Dillon. I'm just saying, listen, Colleague is the team that is desperately trying to find sponsors and or drivers to put in their car. If I'm not kidding, if you have the money, they'll put you in the 16 car this weekend. Guaranteed.
Yeah, Like that Starcom TCR car I keep seeing all over my Instagram.
No. Do not diss Starcom on this program. They were a gift to the NASCAR community.
No.
I'll say this, and I'm being serious. The 00 Starcom car, at its worst, is better than what Colleague is putting on the racetrack right now. Guaranteed.
I don't know that I fully agree with that. I think that Colleague at weeks are field fillers. I could agree with that.
They fired.
But I think that
no. I need to say this and put it into perspective, and then you try to defend this. They fired AJ Allmendinger for Ty Dillon. Defend that. How do you defend that?
I don't know that you can fully back that up. I think
that's the
point. But I will say that AJ has been doing way better in the Xfinity car for years, and so you got to look at that from that perspective.
AJ's been out driving the Xfinity car.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, but I think at least for Colleague, having SVG and them working with Trackhouse, having SVG in that program will help them be better. Yeah. And I think that losing Justin Haley for that program was a huge hit. I mean, Justin Haley is making Rick Ware Racing look like nothing they've ever looked like before. I have been extremely surprised. I was blown away.
I'm not.
When they went to the Coliseum and Haley looked amazing. And I said, okay, well, maybe this is just one off, because Haley looked good here last year too. Then Haley, the first couple of races, fighting for top 10s and top 15s in the 51 car, when years and years we looked at them crashing their own teammates and looking like a whole bunch of buffoons.
Oh, James.
I mean, I have been pleasantly surprised with what Haley's been able to do.
Oh, more than that, man.
I saw this coming.
Great.
I saw it coming. As soon as Haley announced it last year, we all kind of went, huh? And then we listened to what he had to say about that car, and we saw that RFK was not investing, but sharing their notes, so to speak, with
partners.
With that organization. And it doesn't surprise me. Haley's a great driver. He really is. And he's always, frankly, been in shit equipment. And I just thought he was going to be in that same shit equipment forever, and it was eventually going to get better. But when he jumped ship from Colleague, it kind of let me know Colleague's not going in the right direction. If you're losing Justin Haley, you're not going in the right direction.
Who's been there since
the dawn
Blake
of time.
Cook was there.
Yeah. Haley's been there, I want to say it was 6-7 years, something like that. Like he was going to retire.
2017, I think.
Yeah, so it bad look for that organization. But what do you guys think of Bubba's debut and Taylor Gray's debut this weekend out at Richmond?
Bubba drove his ass off.
Yeah, he did well. He did really well.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch the race live, but I watched the replay, and I was, to be frank, I saw that coming. I think he's going to be the next Josh Berry over there at Junior Motorsports. At least I want him to be, where he ends up in a full-time ride and eventually will work his way up into the Cup Series. I feel like there's been a generation of short track talent that has been kind of overlooked because of NASCAR's current bring your own sponsors
model.
Racing the Cup Series model. I mean, you look at it, there's a handful of drivers in the Cup Series right now that paid to be there, or who are currently being paid to be there for whatever reason. You have the Daniel Hemrick of the world. He's the best example right now, where he clearly is paying to be in that 31 car. You had Eric Almirola, who was paying to be in the 10 car last year and in years prior. So I'd like to see that stop. Nothing wrong with guys finding a sponsor and a ride that way if they have the talent to back it up. But
exactly,
I'd like to see Bubba get a shot at a Cup ride at some point down the road, or at least a full-time Xfinity ride sooner rather than later. And maybe that'll happen over at Junior Motorsports. I mean, eventually Junior is just going to own all the cars in the Xfinity series. He's just going to keep adding cars, but I don't know. I'd like to see that happen somewhere down the road.
Yeah. It's you can't really knock the concept of paid drivers too much. I mean, it's like, without paid drivers, we wouldn't have Nicky Lauda,
Fair.
Nicky Lauda got into F1 with a loan he took out,
Yeah.
You know, he basically put everything up for the bank, like as collateral, just like, I want to just bet my life on this. I believe in myself. I can do this. And then he went and did it.
Yeah.
What was it? 3 years late? Yeah, 73, I think was his first season. Might have been 74. And it was go around anyway. And it was a terrible team, but like he gambled on the as in BLM wasn't like I'm saying that season they were a terrible team. They had a terrible car that year, but he gambled on the fact that on his
Whoa.
confidence that he was good enough with that crappy car for an actually good team to spot that talent, and that's exactly what happened. 1 year later, Ferrari were like, "Hey, you want to come race for us?" And
well, it was more like Rigatoni went back to Ferrari, and they were like, "Nah, I need Nicky with me." But still.
Oh yeah.
Still.
It's
you're right. Like Nicky Lauda, I feel, and to that respect, there are a handful of drivers who are paid drivers who deserve to be where they're at.
Right.
But at the same time, does Ty Dillon at this point?
Right. No, absolutely. That was my that was the part to that statement. It's like you got to respect paid drivers to some extent, but they can't just be there because of their money. Like there's got to be something else, because like if you're just bringing money to an organization, to a team, like doesn't matter. If you have no talent, like you can give them all the money in the world, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
Like
Danica Patrick.
Don't call it that. They're trophy hunting with 25. Like I can't believe how much Colleague's falling off. It bothers the hell out of me.
Colleague is trophy hunting with not even like
20 place car.
Not even that. It's like at one point they had a freaking bazooka and they were going out there and hunting and doing great. And now it's like they don't even have a water gun. Like they're
fighting, like they're going hunting with a knife.
They're not even going hunting with a knife. It's
like
what's worse than not having a knife when you go hunting? It's like you know what it
having
is
a
like?
pen.
It's even worse. It's like that wooden gun in The Other Guys. That's exactly what it is. They're going out there with a toy wooden gun going, "We're trophy hunting. Look at us go."
Yeah.
Whee! And they're doing nothing. Like
Pop
that's
cap.
Yeah.
Pop cap gun.
There you go.
So I don't like what you just sent, Ricky. A New York street circuit.
So there's a tweet with a rumor going around saying that Liberty Media is working on replacing COTA with a New York street circuit beyond 2026. There were also rumors about an all-star type F1 race in New York.
Because that worked so well in Formula E.
Yep. So
dislike.
Take it with a grain of salt with it being on
But
Twitter.
getting rid of small though.
Getting rid of what? Wait, what?
Getting rid of Spa, moving away
They're
from
not
that.
going to get rid of Spa.
Fine.
I mean, they've been talking about it for.
Yeah, but they've been talking about that forever.
I would cry if they got rid of Spa.
If you want to get rid of something, get rid of Monaco. That's all.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say that it's the same how people have been talking about, oh, Monaco's going to go away. That it's not going to go away. It's there. Not only is it like the race itself is like one of the most famous races in racing, but also it's like it's the home of F1 drivers. Literally 8 F1 drivers live in Monaco.
Mm-hmm.
You like if you take away like you're doing such a massive disservice to F1 as a series if you're taking Monaco off the calendar. I know the racing's not as good, like at least if it's
Bingo.
a dry race.
No, bingo, right there. That should be the only determining factor. If the racing isn't good, if it doesn't put on a good show, why in the fuck should it matter that 8 drivers live here and 8 drivers only have to go in their backyard?
I was gonna say that in dry weather, the racing isn't very exciting. But like, what year was it? Was it last? No, it wasn't last year. Was it 2 years ago? when it started raining mid-race, and it turned into one of the most exciting races of the first half of the season.
So have
I can't
Yeah, but
remember
everybody.
you can't save bad racing with history or with tradition. Just because it's tradition doesn't mean that, like it's a
you have a
continual
point,
bad product.
You
I
could
mean, I
you could
agree.
put that statement over
wanted-
all of F1 right now for the last 5-6 years. It's just a bad because who the fuck cares at this point? Max Verstappen wins again. We've seen this play out the last couple of years. Like, to me, F1, I don't care anymore because I'm sick of
F1's
watching.
literally always been this way, though.
It has.
F1's literally always been this way.
It has. There's always been kind of waves of dominance, kind of like time periods of dominance. We had the Lewis Hamilton dominance era. We're in the Max Verstappen dominance. And to me, it's boring. The transition between one and the next is always fascinating. And trust me, that race that we saw between Verstappen and Hamilton was great. Lots of controversy around it. That was great. But now we're in his era, and Red Bull's dominating, and unless he literally blows up or doesn't show up to the race, there's no point to watch.
Speaking of blowing up, I mean, we are now, 2 years away from Red Bull moving over to Ford powertrains.
Assuming that Ford actually goes along with it at this point, because there's rumors that they're trying to back out of the deal. So
after all the Horner stuff.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they're not going to probably be able to keep Honda, being that Honda is,
Honda wants out.
Jumped ship and gone to Aston Martin.
We're about at an hour, so I think the last thing we haven't really touched on is MotoGP.
Yeah,
bought out by
and
Liberty Media.
We're around 45 minutes or so we've got another 10 or 15 here, give or take. But I mean, the story is that MotoGP has been purchased by the same group that owns F1. So how does this change MotoGP?
So it's another episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. This was going to be
basically.
Yeah, it's gonna ruin one of the best things maybe the best thing about watching MotoGP compared to any other sport, and that is the race direction. You cannot argue that MotoGP has probably the best race direction. When I'm saying race direction, I'm not talking about stewarding and stuff. I'm talking about the literal directors of the cameras and the deciding
broadcast.
What to show when. Yeah, exactly. That race direction is spot on in MotoGP. Yeah. If any of you watched the Portuguese Grand Prix, it was just beautiful. They showed every fight, and you had no what do you call it, downtime or whatever. Where it was you could watch the standings and see a bunch of overtakes, and they're just showing nothing on but then here comes Liberty Media, and probably what we're gonna get is every race is going to be, a standing full of overtakes, and they're just going to be doing crowd shots
of kids,
basically. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and it's sad.
Time will tell. It makes, if you're acquiring that company, it makes more sense to keep your current race directors and producers on the broadcast there, because they've already done it for God knows how long. And to your credit, they're doing a great job.
Choice.
Exactly. So all hopes that everybody over there keeps their job, and that the race broadcast continues to be the same quality that it was. But and I mean,
they said they're going to improve the broadcast and no more street circuits. But
how's that going for F1?
Yeah.
Talk is
cheap. Improve according to who? According to what definition?
Yeah, exactly. And this caught my eye this morning as well, y'all. Connor Zillage, quote, "F1 makes NASCAR look like the country fair, almost," unquote. And then once that tweet went out, he clarified by tweeting out, quote, "To clear up the title, I was referring to the hospitality/fan experience, not the racing," unquote. I will 100,000% agree with him. The at-track hospitality fan experience in NASCAR is terrible. Is the county fair compared to F1. No question about it. Chicago, I think, took a big step forward for NASCAR, and NASCAR actively tried to get closer to the F1 model of the fan experience than their current model. And a lot of people were like, "Ugh, I don't like this," but it made a whole lot of money, and it brought in a whole lot of new NASCAR new NASCAR fans that had never been to a race before. So I think that's the transition we're kind of in the middle of, because I'm assuming nobody here has been to the Phoenix Raceway yet.
That what?
Nobody's been to Phoenix yet. The physical racetrack in Phoenix, Arizona. I got a chance to go.
I have.
Since they did the repave and the remodel.
Yeah, so it was 2018. It was right after they finished it. That was the last year of Homestead having the championship final. Yep. That's where I proposed. That's the word I'm looking for, to Kelby up on Rattlesnake Hill over the Xfinity race, I think, or something. So it's weird in iRacing driving by, like, hey, we watched a race and I got basically engaged up there. That's cool.
That's kind of
That's where it all went downhill for her.
But yeah, so one of the cool things about it, is the backside of the hill is a national park. So you can just walk up the backside of the hill, stand on top of Rattlesnake Hill, and watch the race for free.
Yep. Rattlesnake Hill, to my knowledge, is still free for the fans. And it's great up there. It's really cool up there. I got a chance to go to the racetrack for the first time in Phoenix this last November for Ryan Blaney's championship celebration and Cole Custard's race. I'll say this, that I think is closer to what NASCAR wants. They want more of a hangout, borderline more modern, upscale kind of feel to the infield and the outer part of the racetrack. And that's the model that NASCAR is going towards. They're spending more money on the fan experience and upgrading all of their racetracks one at a time. Fontana is going through that right now. I'm not calling it Auto Club because Auto Club naming rights expired, but Fontana is kind of going through that right now, where NASCAR is really looking at the design. Not so much, here's the banking, here's where the racetrack will be, but they're looking at what do we do with the grandstands and the garage area and the suites and camping and blah, 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 because they want to create an upscale championship kind of facility that is going to be there for decades to come, that does rival these big multi-billion-dollar stadiums. That's what NASCAR wants, and I think NASCAR is aware of this hospitality fan experience problem. They are slowly working on it, but it is extremely expensive to just pull the trigger on upgrading every single track. So they're going to do it slowly but surely. Mark my words.
Yeah. It's just hope that they I don't know that it gets done in time.
It goes through. Instead of them continuing to push it off. And I mean, there's no work being done there. I saw a tweet the other day that there was absolutely no work being done for a little while. So
there's not.
Yeah,
kind of concerning.
I'm currently I'm like 15 miles away from that track, and
Alan's the guy who had the drone footage that came out when they were first blowing that place up. Yeah, that was him.
There you go.
And that place, I mean, here's the thing: the people who own the land that was the racetrack in turns 1, 2, 3, 4, they've already torn it up and they're building what they want on their land. That's owned by them. NASCAR hasn't really broken ground on the new track yet because they're still finalizing the design. And why should NASCAR break ground on a plan that they haven't finalized? That's extremely irresponsible. So they're still finalizing their plans. They've been dragging their feet on this, admittingly, but I've always said, and I will continue to say, I'd rather see them take a year or two to get it right than throw together a piece of shit and throw it out there for the fans. This is going to take NASCAR racing in Southern California into the next 40, 50 years, not the next 4 or 5 months. So let's take our time and get it right. That's my thought process on it. And to my knowledge, and people within NASCAR are working on it. There's a team within NASCAR that's working on it. And the rumors that, we're going to close that track and sell that land and it's never going to happen, I think are really stupid, because think about it. Is NASCAR going to continue to spend millions of dollars a year on taxes on that land
Yeah.
to just sell it in a few years. No, absolutely not. And
Yeah, no.
NASCAR would have gotten significantly more money if they sold all of that land in one foul swoop than breaking it up the way that they did. So
Absolutely.
NASCAR is going to hold on to that land. Anybody who tells you otherwise is an idiot. So, or
Yeah, and
going
the
after clickbait.
one good thing is the developer, it's one developer that owns all of that now. It's the same developer that they work with, I don't know where, but he's the one who got $750 million in financing. But yeah, there's no way that NASCAR would ever not complete this project because they're gonna turn it into a like a model track basically.
Yep.
You're gonna have the best. They're gonna go to the N30 for hospitality for absolutely everything and a showcase of what they can do to improve these things.
Yeah.
Probably not until like 2028 at this point, but
Well, to be honest, that's exactly what they have to do out there in California. Like, if they want to bring NASCAR to, you know, to new audiences, like California is, first of all, great place to do that. I think it's a massive, massive area, with a lot of tradition in other, or a lot of history with other kinds of racing already. So I think there's a good sort of um, a good sort of betting there for bringing new NASCAR fans in. And I think if they really knock this out of the park, I and I think they can really bring a lot of new fans into the sport. And I'm actually it reminds me of something that I saw um, before the the Coliseum race. I forget the name of it, what it's called, but anyway, the before the
Clash.
Coliseum race at this, yeah, the Clash. Thank you, thank you. Something I saw that really put things into perspective for me, because you guys probably knew that that dude, Machine Gun Kelly, performed there, right?
He was supposed to, and it didn't happen.
Oh, he didn't?
No, he did
I
not.
thought he
Oh, he
did
didn't?
show.
No.
He did. I thought he did show up on
Yeah, I
Saturday.
thought so too.
I was there that day. Initially,
What was that?
initially what happened is NASCAR said, "Hey, he's on his way. He's going to perform the mid-race break here on Saturday night. It's going to be great." And then apparently at some point after the green flags was dropped in the actual main event on Saturday, NASCAR released a subtle press release saying, "Hey, he's not going to be performing the race break. We're trying to." The official reason that it was canceled is because rain was coming. It rained maybe 5 minutes after the conclusion of the NASCAR Mexico race. And it came down pretty decently. I was in the rain recording my post-race show. And basically, NASCAR said, "Hey, because of rain coming later tonight, we canceled this mid-race break because we want to try to get all of the racing in." And they did. They barely did.
Right.
Had it been, had they waited 5 more minutes, the NASCAR Mexico race would have been called early, and it wouldn't have finished. So NASCAR did a really good job at kind of being the schedule.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
yeah.
So I saw that he was, well,
Supposed to play.
perform then.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I saw a whole deluge of boomers and old heads and old fans and stuff being like, "Why the hell are you bringing that such and such to our sport? We don't want him here, yada yada yada." And then I saw a tweet. I don't know, because I don't have Twitter, and I couldn't follow her, and so I don't remember her name. But there was a woman who tweeted that, like, "You guys are complaining that about them bringing Machine Gun Kelly onto this event and stuff, but me and my family would have literally never heard of this event if he wasn't scheduled to perform, and we're going." And So there's the point I'm trying to make is that like there's so many ways to bring in fans into the sport that like like you were talking about with your niece, I believe,
Yeah.
with the show, the NASCAR show.
Yeah. When I took her to an NHRA drag race, and she was just wide-eyed and woo the entire time.
Yeah.
And had I not
Yeah.
physically taken her to the race, she never would have paid
Yeah.
attention. So, and that's
Yeah.
the point. Like the point of the LA Coliseum race and the racetrack and that event is to bring in new fans. It's not for us diehards who are going to go regardless of
Right.
where it is. It's to bring it to a new audience, and you're putting that race in South Los Angeles in a historic venue, and it happens to hold 100,000 plus, which, by the way, is significantly more people than you can cram into North Wilkesboro. So, North Wilkesboro selling out is great, but that's what, 50,000? If that? Like, cool, great. Yeah. But don't treat that like selling out the LA Coliseum isn't a better thing. That's a much better thing because that holds 100,000 plus. So that selling out is 100,000 plus.
Yeah, and it's like there's no reason basically for NASCAR to be like, oh, we're gonna book I don't know, Eric Church or someone like that
doesn't matter.
because that's not the people that like his music, that's the people are, there's a lot of crossover between his fans and people who are already into NASCAR. For God's sake, he has a hit song called Talladega.
Yeah.
So, just as an example.
Like I forget who it was, but there was a country music singer who was booked for, I want to say, Talladega, that you would think plays perfectly to the Talladega audience, that plays perfect to the NASCAR fan. And NASCAR fans online went, ew, really? I don't want to see him at that racetrack. Ugh. So, no, I'm all for bringing in new musical acts and people from, frankly, different generations and different genres of music, because it brings in different fans, because we all look very different. We're not all one person. This isn't, redneck racing,
and that's why Iowa's going to be a hit this year.
Yep.
With our lineup.
It already sold out. Iowa already sold out for the Cup and Xfinity race. Sold out. And that's going to be a massive weekend, sincerely. But wrapping things up this weekend, heading to another short track, Martinsville. I'm tempted to say the paperclip. Who are you guys' picks? Who are you keeping an eye on heading into Martinsville this weekend?
So just real quick back to Fontana. So the developer is the same developer that NASCAR is working with at Daytona to develop the business park that's south of the track.
Nice.
So it's a developer that they're
familiar with,
attached to the hip with. So that's only going to be good. It's going to be, I honestly don't know. It's going to be a Christopher Bell kind of race, I feel.
Fair.
You guys are going to laugh at me, but I'm just going to say this because I still want to believe. Ryan Blaney. I just want to believe that he can still do it.
I mean, you take the same car, maybe he's got a shot, honestly. Like, I think he's got a top 10 run in him at least this weekend, if not more. I'm looking at
he could do it last year.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm looking at Denny Hamlin going for a back-to-back because he's the guy who quite literally will take out his teammate and use him up in turn one. You kind of have to have that mentality. But does Martin Truex Jr. pay him back? Does a Ty Gibbs get his first victory? You notice that I'm only talking about the Toyotas because the Toyotas clearly have the short track package figured out right now. But I mean,
the one person I'm probably going to be keeping an eye on is
Bubba.
Though I'm not a big fan of him. Now I was going to say Chastain. I think Chastain might have a good race next weekend.
Fair.
And
it's the Hendrick cars and the SHR cars and the Gibbs cars. That's basically your.
Let me pick them all. So, I'm gonna pick them all. Yeah, everybody's gonna win. Yeah.
So
I'm just saying those are the teams that have been. I mean, all short tracks this year.
Yeah.
You get those three cars, and it's annoying, but it's true.
But
it's
going
to be the same.
You could get like a Bubba Wallace.
As much as I hate it, I think Noah Gragson might do well.
Good pick too.
Because
He looked
SHR.
pretty strong
So
yesterday.
Eric had what 2 top 5s here last year in that car. It's the only track that SHR actually performed at last year because
Yeah,
we
and
had
I thought the car looked pretty strong last night as well. It's
so
short
like
track
Briscoe had a
as
top
well.
5. Almirola was in 6th. Yeah, so actually I wouldn't be surprised if the 10 car is pretty quick this weekend.
He should be.
But
It all comes down
but
to
if I could make my if I could have my perfect race, it would be Blaney beating out Chastain at the last moment, last lap. Because when they get it when they fight hard.
yeah. I mean,
Those two,
I feel
they
like
are not fans of each other.
I feel like the 12 and the 1 car is the rivalry that haven't seen flourish yet. I feel like they're one bad day.
It's coming.
I agree. They're one bad day away from giving us exactly what we want, and I'm here for it. I'm
Yeah.
Team Chaos all
Yeah.
the way. So yeah,
No, Team Blaney,
there you go. But
Team 12.
real quick, what are you guys racing on iRacing this coming week?
I'm not.
I don't even know what's on the schedule this week, to be honest.
Well, I'll
Fair.
tell you the updates tomorrow.
Yeah.
The season 2 patch 2. The rumor is it might be the TCR cars getting rain and maybe the other GT3s, so that we can have full GT3 rain.
I would like it in GT
don't know.
Sprint.
I haven't raced since Sebring, so I'll be doing anything and everything I can this week.
Super Formula
Have
Lights
some
in
fun.
Road Atlanta.
Live tonight.
I just
Live tonight on Twitch. I'll be doing it, so it'll be fun.
Ooh.
Oh,
So
What are we
just
doing?
personally can't wait to get back to iRacing and just get back into the IndyCar. That's my thing. Alan, you probably
Yeah, the
don't.
IndyCar's been a
you-
blast.
Yeah, you maybe don't know, but that was my bread and butter back in the day,
see,
and that's actually how I met was through the IndyCars.
I just did my first IndyCar race last weekend, and it did not go well. I got literally run over twice, and we DNF'd because we just had too much damage. But going into week 4, season 2 of 2024, NIS heading to Martinsville, the B and C, I want to say. Both
everyone's there.
Everybody's in Martinsville, yeah, basically.
I ran that race last time they were there, NIS.
Nice.
Yeah, at the tail end of the last season.
You've got the Gen 4 Cup cars heading to Nashville in week 4. You've got Draftmaster.
Interesting.
Super Speedway or
Huh? No.
Nashville Super Speedway?
Hang on, I lost it. No, Gen 4 heading to Homestead.
We're at Homestead right now.
Wait, yeah, you're right. Hang on. No, excuse me. Nashville Super Speedway. You're right.
Okay.
I flipped.
That could be interesting.
That would be.
That sounds like fun.
That does.
Those cars do not belong there.
This one, hang on.
Everywhere.
This one might be fun. The NASCAR Legend 87 cars are heading to Legacy Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yo.
I would be all over that if I could.
That is going to be fun, I think.
But dude, Alan, just say the word and I'll Mr. Miyagi the fuck out of you, dude. I'll get you comfortable with that IndyCar.
To me, it was my first ever IndyCar race at Auto Club.
Which you have to work your
IndyCar
rear ARBs. Like you need to run 5 on the front, maybe 2 on the rear, and then plus 2 or 3 weight tracker, and just let it rotate itself.
Yeah, I found out after the race that I had actually been running the wrong setup. For some reason, it did not load the Auto Club setup. It loaded the Brickyard setup. So I was running the Indianapolis Motor Speedway setup, and I was plowing. Let's just say I was plowing off 2 and 4, but 2 was really bad.
I don't doubt it.
I was so bad. It was so bad. I was like 2 laps in. I'm going, I fucked up. Like it was.
But yeah, the main thing with ovals for IndyCars is the main thing is that you gotta have not just the ARBs, but also the weight tracker. You gotta have those mapped on your wheel or whatever, your button box or wheel or whatever, in such places where you can easily adjust them as you go.
Yeah.
Because the IndyCar, it's like 2 different cars, whether you're in the draft or you're not. Like you gotta be able to just basically like flip it upside down if it's the settings. I mean, if you're not in a draft, because yeah, it's so
It was rough.
it's such a strange difference.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But-
I'm looking
but
forward
hey,
to getting
I mean-
back into that thing.
But the bottom line is if you're going to be racing on iRacing, you need a really good setup underneath you, and luckily, Overton Speed Shop has a few things. Lee, we have the setups. We have the setups.
Yeah, we usually will have the 3 NASCAR series posted in one of the channels there, and then any requests or anything. Like we've also done RTP and a few other things. So, yeah, they'll be posted there weekly.
And they're the best part. Free.
Yay, as it should be.
Free to the masses so that you guys can go win and have some fun. So check out Overton Speed Shop for some free iRacing setups. And by the way, I'm not saying I won the iRacing Daytona 500 with one of those setups this year, but I kind of did. So
You didn't not win it.
I didn't
That way.
not win it that way. Yes.
Yeah, we have a 3-year running of winning at least one person winning the Daytona 500. But
Yeah.
all right, so yeah,
Yeah, I kind of.
I think that's it.
That's gonna
Yeah,
do
I
it
kind
for...
of need to go.
Yeah, we gotta go. So
Unfortunately.
we're gonna get out of here. Martinsville this weekend should be pretty damn good. You can check out links in the description below for all of our socials, as well as links to the Overton Speed Shop Discord, so that you can check out your free iRacing setups as we head into week number 4 of season number 2 in 2024. So for Holler Talk, I'm Alan Bailey.
Lee Overton.
I'm Emily Wasson.
And Ricky.
Hey!
Yay! We will see you guys at the track.
What?
Hey!
Is it his birthday? Is
How
it your
did you-
birthday?
How did you
No,
get
it's not my
balloons?
birthday. I don't know. I did this on the camera, and it did.
Balloons?
My birthday's
I
tomorrow,
don't know how
so
I did it.
deal.
Well, happy early birthday.
High, push it, check your bike. Hell yeah! What's the caution for? Me?
Can they not push it in?
Stop anybody.
We'll be going.
Love a job all night long. Great car, guys. There, need to get in the middle of all that. Good about 5 out the back.
So nice, baby.
Burner down here. You'll be good to start finish line for your interview.
For the love of the game, my man. For the love of the game. Way to go, boys.
One hell of a job, man. One hell of a job.
Thank you so much.